So I was thinking about this is going to be kind of a long, winding tale. So please bear with me. Our family is not like a lot of families where they all eat meals together. We've never been like that, mainly because my husband works. Usually he works at night. He'll work from the afternoon into the evening, just because of that's what his job is like. So as far as having meals together as a whole family, that usually didn't happen. When the kids were real little, we used to be able to do breakfast together sometimes. But then as the girls got older, everyone had like different wake up times. So trying to have breakfast together as a family just didn't work. And I was the one who was up before everyone else, and I was usually starving in the morning. So I never waited. I just had breakfast when I got up. Sometimes everyone could have lunch together, but then that turned into everyone just started eating when they were hungry for lunch. So that kind of went out the door. Um, we would usually, the girls and I, and my mom, because my mom's been living with us since 2013, the five of us would have dinner together. And what we used to do, and we kind of still do this, but what we used to do was me and my three daughters would each take a turn. So we'd have 1 week where we would plan out the meals, write up the grocery list, and we'd be responsible for making the meals for the dinner for everyone that week. Everyone else was responsible for their own breakfast and lunch. But dinner would be on that person to make for the entire week. So it would be a chance for you to make like whatever your favorite meals were that you knew that the other people weren't going to make. What ended up happening too, though, sometimes, like when I changed my diet, the weeks that my three daughters would cook, they were having like carby meals, and I wasn't going to eat those. So rather than have them make a separate meal for me, I would make my own meal. So then it also turned into my oldest daughter was more on board with eating. She's not like 100% carnivore or anything, but she shifted towards more carnivore meals. And then I would try to pick meals that I knew my other daughters liked, but as my range of foods lessened and decreased, I just started making simpler meals during my week. But they were meals that my two youngest daughters didn't like. So they are not a fan of steak. Whereas me and my oldest daughter, we love steak. So I could make big batch of, say, flank steak for the week, and that gives me and my oldest daughter some meals. Um, so what started happening was there was a shift there where um, during each other's weeks, if they were making something that we couldn't have or we didn't like, we just counted on ourselves to make our own food. So since my youngest daughter has been sick for the last 2 years, we took her out of the cycle. So, and I mean, at first she was still planning a menu because it was meals that she wanted to have, but then that shifted earlier last year when her health took an even further nosedive and she wasn't able to eat regular meals anymore. So anyway, so it's been a gradual change. Now, from the beginning, when I changed my diet, I wasn't willing to make two meals. In other words, one meal for me and one meal for the rest of the family. That's not what we were going to do. It was, I was going to make one meal, and if they didn't like what I was making, they would make their own stuff. Now, my husband, he has never been someone who expected me to make food for him. It's kind of funny because before I started this diet, there were a lot of meals I made that he didn't like. Now, the rest of us liked them, but he was not a fan. Now, though, he has a pretty broad range of foods that I make that he likes. So what I'll do is I will ask him, is there anything you want me to make to keep in the fridge for you this week? And he feels bad even asking me, but I'm like, no, I want to make food that you can have that I know is good for you. So often that'll be like maybe some meatballs, some burgers. Um, he had asked for like a casserole kind of thing. So I made like, I can't even remember, it was like a cheese sauce, and then I threw some meat in there, and he was enjoying that. So that's what I do for him because he doesn't eat meals with us. So like I said, I try to keep some food available for him. Um, my mom's range of food is much more narrow because of her health situation right now. So I will make up a big batch of like deviled eggs, and she loves them. She loves deviled eggs. So that's what she'll have as one of her meals. Or sometimes like we'll do like an Alfredo sauce and throw some meat in there, or she'll have like the egg white noodles. And it's currently what we're doing is during my week and my oldest daughter's week is we will make food that we like, and her and I like most of the same meals. So I'll try to make sure that same kind of thing where it's like there's enough for me and her, and then anyone else who wants can have them, but it's generally just me, her, and my mom eating them, and then I've got separate food for my husband. So I'm not generally cooking every day. Most days, if I have a food prep day, I'll try to make at least 3 foods that day. So it's like I'll make up a big batch of hard-boiled eggs. I'll try to grill some meat if I can, if I have the time. Uh, Sometimes I'll make like some soup or something like that. But I like to have foods that we can dip into throughout the week, and that way we don't have to cook every single day. So anyway, I hope that kind of explains things. I know that there are some people out there that their family doesn't like what they're eating, so they'll make a meal for themselves and then they'll make a meal for their family. And maybe even in that, there's like variations, and someone won't like this or someone won't like that. I would say do the best you can in those kinds of situations. Try to find meals. Like if that's the situation where you are the only person cooking, like let's say your kids aren't old enough. I mean, I started my kids pretty young, teaching them how to cook. I had them in the kitchen with me while I was cooking. So we said in the beginning, they were my sous chef. I was teaching them as we went. And then gradually the shift became I was their sous chef. So as they were cooking, they would tell me what they needed me to make, like chop up onions or whatever. And then eventually they were in charge of the entire meal themselves. So that was the point I wanted to get them to. I wanted to get them so that they were confident in the kitchen making their own meals. And that's, of course, where we're at now. My daughters range from 18 to 22. So they are all old enough and they all know how to cook. But if your kids are, toddlers or younger, that's a different story. But even then, I would say get them in the kitchen with you. There are things that they can help you with, and you can teach them, the basics of cooking. You could teach them, safety with the oven, safety with the stove. You could teach them about food safety. This is an important time. You can lay at least the basics of that foundation, and getting them involved in helping you make the meal might also help them discover, well, actually, I like this food better than that one. And then they can help you plan the meals too. You can get their input and say, well, you seem to like this meal that I made last week. Do you want to help me make that this week? Getting them involved is one of the best things that you can do. And it also leads to them being independent and confident in the kitchen down the road. So anyway, I hope that helps. Let me know if you guys have any other questions about this. Thank you so much for listening. Bye.